Welcome to Holistic Health with Melissa, a podcast for women who are ready to stop living in survival mode and start truly healing. I'm Melissa, a holistic trauma and anxiety coach, and here we talk about all things holistic healing for trauma, anxiety, and the nervous system. We blend science, scripture, and somatic work to help you regulate your body, renew your mind, and reconnect with the peace God designed for you to live in. If you're craving real healing, freedom from symptoms, and joy that reaches your mind, body, and spirit, you're in the right place. What people don't realize is you are triggering, you are signaling to your body that to be in a state of fight or flight if you are under-nourishing. So if you are eating 1,200 calories a day, your body responds as if there is a tiger present in front of you, because it thinks it's starving.
Right.
And from a primal standpoint, under-nourishing is, just as bad, maybe worse of over-nourishing. Hi, friend. Do you feel like you've done all the things? You've tried the therapy, the pills, the diets, and nothing seems to work? You have a great life, but something is still missing. You don't feel energized, alive, or free, but you know that you are called for something more. Then I want you to join me for the 3-day Mind Body Healing Workshop, where we'll blend science, scripture, and somatic work to heal your mind, body, and spirit for real this time. You'll step into whole body restoration, finding joy, freedom from symptoms, and freedom from the chains of trauma that have been holding you back. I cannot wait to see you there. Go to holistichealthbymelissa.com to sign up. Your life will never be the same. Hey everyone, welcome back to Holistic Health with Melissa. I'm so excited that you are here. We are going to talk about some super fun stuff today. I've been really excited about this conversation with Katie Kirklin. We just spent a few minutes talking. We have so much in common. This is going to be a really insightful conversation, and I hope that you can learn something about yourself, learn something about your body, and what true health actually means. So without further ado, Katie Kirklin is a certified functional nutrition counselor, a licensed registered nurse who focuses on addressing health concerns at the root cause. Helping others improve their health has been a lifelong passion. From her early days as a group fitness instructor to her work as a registered nurse, her nursing career took her all over the world, including volunteering on a hospital ship in West Africa, working in a children's hospital in Australia, and traveling across the United States. Despite these experiences, Katie felt called to more preventative approach to health. After navigating her own struggles with gut issues, anxiety, disordered eating, she discovered functional nutrition. And today, Katie helps clients achieve lasting wellness through personalized nutrition and sustainable lifestyle changes, which is exactly where it's at. And I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for being here, Katie. I'm so excited to dive into this conversation.
Thanks so much for having me, Melissa. I'm so excited to be here and chat with you.
Awesome. Well, like I said, we have so much in common, and we even overlapped almost overlapped at one of our hospital experiences in our early days, which is super funny and cool. But yeah, I would just love to know kind of a little bit of the backstory. How did you get into nursing? Share some of your own personal journey and how you got into this space of helping other people with nutrition and functional medicine and all that.
Yeah, well, my fascination with nutrition started from a really young age, and it started from not the best roots really, but I started learning about nutrition through diet culture, weight loss diet culture. I think a lot of us went through that, and my whole family went on a diet when I was like 12 years old, and I learned a lot of bad information, fat is bad, calories are bad, that sort of thing. But at the same time, I was learning a lot about nutrition in general, and I was just super intrigued by it. And that really set the tone for the rest of my life, really, when it came to just being fascinated by how what we put in our body affects how we feel. And what is going on with the body as far as symptoms we might experience, that sort of thing. But so I started eating the way I thought was healthy at that time. And I found myself with all these health issues in like high school and college. Um, and I remember thinking like, what the heck? I am eating this really healthy diet compared to all my peers, and I'm the one who is having symptoms and getting sick and having all these issues. And so fast forward many years, ultimately, I found myself just doing all this unlearning about diet culture. I grew up, eating all these like diet processed foods, and I didn't
Mm.
understand. It just never occurred to me that so many processed foods were just kind of a bunch of chemicals. There's a story I share. I was living with my sister, and I was actually in nursing school at the time, in grad school, and I loved butter spray. And my sister one time asked me, Katie, why do you eat that? You know, it's just a bunch of chemicals, right? It's not even real food. And it was just this light bulb moment for me. It had never occurred to me that that wasn't real food. And and I was like, no wonder my body hasn't been working for me. I haven't been giving it real nourishment. Um, and so, you know, my path to nursing school, when I was in undergrad, I I that's when I was a group fitness instructor, and I was already very into health, and I kind of understood the concept of holistic health to some degree. But at that time, I just didn't see a clear path to doing what I wanted to do. Health coaching wasn't really a thing then. I wasn't aware of the functional medicine world. So I just didn't know. I didn't know what it was called. Um, and so that's how I found myself in nursing. I'm like, okay, well, you can't go wrong with a nursing degree. And this will be a path into that health space. And and I quickly realized that working as a nurse was very much on the more like reactive side of things as opposed to the preventive side of things. And my my real passion and love has always been more on the preventive side of things. And so I ended up working as a registered nurse in pediatric hemonc, and it was such a rewarding job, and it took me on some incredible adventures around the world, and I'm very grateful for those experiences. But I always was just feeling this tug to helping people feel better and through food and nutrition and lifestyle,
Yeah.
and I realized eventually that I was gonna have to kind of create this job for myself, because I would, look at job websites and things, and I was like, okay, this isn't something people just hire. Like, I'm gonna have to do it myself and become a coach myself and start my own business. And when I found the program that I got certified through, it just really spoke to me because one, they talk about how there's no one size fits all. And in my years of dealing with my own health issues, I was kind of always trying these different diet trends. Like I tried vegan, I tried intermittent fasting, I tried all these different things, and none of them really worked long term for me. Um, but when I heard there's no one size fits all, we are all unique and all things matter, I was like, this is it. This is what I've been looking for, because it's individualized. Um, and so that's really what led me to this space.
What a beautiful story. I love that they said that all things matter. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's like so under understood.
Yeah.
How's the right way to say that? How do we say that? That's like not understood,
Yeah.
like in the general public, is like all things matter, right? Like it doesn't matter necessarily if you're having the butter spray once in a while, right?
Right.
But
Right.
if you're eating it every day or even like a few times a week, every week, and
Yeah.
you're also exposed to toxins in your water and toxins in your um environment, and you
Yeah.
have a really bad thought life, and you're spending hours a day scrolling, and you
Yeah.
have a really high stress job, and like you see,
Yeah.
like all of those things together add up
Yeah.
to a very unhealthy body and an unhealthy state,
Yeah.
right? Like you
Yeah.
can't be
Totally.
healthy when you have all of those things going on
Right.
working against you.
Right, right. And also considering, and I know this is right up your alley, but things in the past traumas and things like that, like that's not something that is typically talked about when you're just, at your primary care appointment. They're not digging in and looking at your whole story.
Yeah.
But those parts of the story matter, and it can really inform, the recommendations that we make for clients.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up. Yeah, those parts of the story matter because like that's how you learn, your body learns how to handle stress in the future. So like when you have those traumas and you're not and you haven't processed through it, I'll just get on a soapbox for a quick second here. When you haven't processed through it and then you are, you still have that energy and motion, that emotion, it's active, it's a vibration, it's moving, right? It's
Yeah,
energy in motion. You still have it inside of your body. And then you're, on the highway or seeing your boss in the hallway or responding to emails or something. Your body responds the same way it responds in trauma, in an acute
hmm,
trauma, high stress, acute stress situation. So that's where it matters, is because your body actually learns that. So we have to teach our bodies because we don't know how to do this. Like as a culture, as a society, as a species, I don't think that we know how to do this very well. Maybe not as
hmm,
a species, because I think there are other cultures that do it really well.
yeah,
But like we don't know how to handle acute stress and then come out of that stress state back into a regulated state. People don't
yeah,
know how to do that.
yeah, yeah,
So that's why that matters. But
absolutely.
I would love to dive into specifically when you talk about nutrition, like one of the things that you talk about a lot is how I think nutrition is just a another really complex. I mean, it's really not that complex, but I think people perceive it as very complex.
Yeah,
And I think there's so much misinformation out there
mhm,
that
yeah,
people don't know what to think. So unless you
yeah,
have extensive training and knowledge about the human body or nutrition specifically or health or something, like a lot of us too, like growing up in, the 90s, like we grew up in diet culture, right?
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
was just talking with a girlfriend today, like remember that show Top Model?
yeah,
They used to like Tara Banks or Tamara Banks, I forget what
uh-huh,
her name is, but she
yeah,
used to rip those girls apart
yeah,
and
yeah,
tell them like they were like skinny, and she'd be like, "You're too fat." And it's like,
mhm,
whoa.
yeah,
And so many girls learned that, and then
right,
also like learned so much bad information, which call me a conspiracy theorist, but I think maybe it was by design. But bad information about fat is bad,
hmm,
eat like
hmm,
grains, eat cereals, like looking at the food pyramid and what it used to like
right,
primarily like consisting of a diet primarily consisting of grains is not good for you. Like
right,
whole grains, yes, some,
mhm,
but like let's not be eating cereal. Like cereal is, oh my gosh, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
So all of
totally,
that to say, like one of the things that you like to talk about is how to stick to a whole food nourishing diet when you're on the go. And I would
yeah,
love to talk about that because that's the culture we live in. We are
yeah,
we are going, we are running Johnny to soccer practice and we have work and we have this. And that is like a common theme that I hear amongst my clients and friends and myself is like,
Yeah.
how do I make sure I'm nourishing myself when my days are packed?
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think it really begins with shifting your, like, reframing how you think about food. Um, I used to think about food as this thing that I feared. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to make me fat. This is going to make me gain weight. Or, you know, I, I had so much fear around food. But when I shifted it to how do I nourish my body and fuel my body? And so now when I make decisions about food, I'm thinking about fuel and nourishment and not about calories and quantities so much. And it's just, it really simplifies things. And eating whole foods naturally makes it so much easier to reduce cravings, and you're no longer fighting will. It's not a willpower thing. It's physiology. And so that's where blood sugar control, blood sugar regulation plays a big role. I like to talk about the blood sugar roller coaster. And if you start the day off, let's say you start the day off with cereal and you don't, and you probably put skim milk on it too, right? So there's like nothing there to
no nutrition.
slow. Right, right. There's nothing there to slow the blood sugar spike. So your blood sugar is spiking, and then subsequently you're crashing, and now you're hangry and you're irritable, and you're like, give me anything I can find. And so then you reach for a pastry and maybe an extra coffee at that point, and then you're spiking again. Um, and then it's just this vicious cycle. And but when you start the day with a nourishing whole food breakfast, a meal, let's say you have a couple eggs, some avocado, some berries, you're setting the tone for the rest of the day, and that blood sugar spike is going to be minimal, and you're not going to experience these extreme cravings where you're like fighting willpower and fighting what's happening inside your body. And it just makes everything so much easier. So that's the first thing, is shifting from the mindset or of, what's the minimum I can eat to get by, and that fear of calories, to how can I nourish my body? Because in my personal journey, when I shifted my mindset to one of nourishment, I could feel my body just like loving me back. My body was like, "Oh, finally, you're fueling me properly." And it just made everything so much easier. Um, but then when it comes to actually being on the go and that sort of thing, there are definitely some skills that you can learn. And the first thing is, I don't know that I'd call this a skill, but the first thing is just prioritizing time to plan ahead a little bit. A little a little bit of planning ahead can go a really long way, for, say, the week ahead. So if you know you're going to be, bouncing around every evening, going to sporting events, or maybe you're on the road and you're traveling, having a little bit of a game plan ahead of time can make a huge difference. So one thing I do is I always make sure I have some healthy snacks with me when I'm out and about, maybe running errands, or so for me, that might look like just a bag of nuts in the car and maybe some fruit or some veggies that I bring along with me. Because it's a lot harder to make a good decision about what you're going to eat when you're really hungry, and you don't have something on hand, and then you just reach for whatever is most convenient. Um, so, yeah, I would say that is, a big thing. Also, some more planning ahead. I'm a big fan of ingredient prepping as opposed to, I mean, meal prepping is great too, but ingredient prepping gives you a little more flexibility. It's not quite as monotonous. You're not necessarily eating the same thing at every meal. If you meal prep the same dinner for a few nights, like that can get a little monotonous. Um, but when you do ingredient prep, you can kind of pull in ingredients that you feel like that at that time. And it's also something you can throw quickly together into a little to-go container and take on the go with you. So we like to have like a whole grain, like rice or quinoa cooked every week, and then maybe some veggies chopped, some meat or fish cooked, just different items that we can throw together. And you can either eat them, just like that, or you can make them into a salad or a bowl. I like to prep a little bit of salad dressing. I make my own salad dressing, put it in a mason jar, and you can change that up from week to week. Bring in some other sauces, things like coconut aminos are a really nice addition. A variety of different types of vinegars. Um, Mustards, a little bit of honey, different types of natural sweeteners can just add some variety. But yeah, ingredient prepping is huge and can go such a long way for preparing for a busy week ahead.
Yeah.
Then you're not like, oh no, what are we gonna eat? We need a DoorDash or we need to stop at the drive-through. Yeah.
Yeah, I love telling like I tell my clients all the time that like the same kind of thing. Like meal prepping is great and like but I will prep even just a little bit or like a sheet pan of vegetables or
Yeah. Yeah.
some sweet potatoes. Like I love to get sweet potatoes from Costco and I'll cook the whole entire bag at
Yeah.
one time and then it makes a huge container of it and I just throw those in the refrigerator, like
Yeah.
roasted sweet potatoes, chopped roasted sweet potatoes. I put a little bit of avocado oil
Yeah.
measured because I tend to overdo the fat, and
Yeah.
then some cinnamon, and they're
Yeah.
perfect. Like roast
So
them in the
simple.
oven for
Yeah.
like 30 minutes, and then you put them into the refrigerator. You just scoop them out. It's giving you complex carb.
Yeah.
So it's going to help blunt that response to the blood sugar, spike that your body is does naturally after
Yeah.
eating, right?
Yeah.
But like my Sunday self always preps for like my Monday self,
Yes.
right? Because
Yes.
my
Totally.
Monday self is like, oh crap, I'm busy. Like I have
Right.
a whole day of calls and I homeschool and like all these crazy things, right? Like I
Yeah.
got I got a busy schedule. And so like
Yeah.
if I prep a little bit on Sunday, my Monday self thanks me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I love that
Yeah.
so much.
I think it's also important to have some backup options that are like we have a few restaurants locally where we will, maybe once a week we'll get something out or carry out or something like that. Like I'm even a fan of Chipotle from time to time. Something like that where, you're still eating mostly a whole food meal um but it's just good to have those options for when you're on the go. Even like when someone is traveling, I tell my clients, if you're like on a road trip and you're in the middle of nowhere and there's only a McDonald's, it is possible to get some almost whole food options. Like you don't necessarily have to eat the French fries. You could ask for a few of the little bags of apples. And it's not totally ideal, but in a pinch, that's going to be better than the fries. Or even a couple burger patties instead of eating a whole cheeseburger or something like that. Like, is it ideal? No, but it's probably
Better
better.
than starving.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't recommend that.
Yeah, I interviewed somebody, Dr. Aaron Chapa. His episode will probably come out after yours because we're doing two back-to-back episodes. But I interviewed him last week, and he said the fastest way to the pearly gates is through the golden arches. And I was like, ooh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
curious now that since you just brought up McDonald's and French fries, there's been kind of, I don't know if it's my algorithm or what, but like I have seen a number of like certified dietitians promoting eating McDonald's Like there's
Yeah.
one dietitian in particular, I can't remember her name, but she says like you should eat McDonald's. Most people don't get enough fiber, so you should eat McDonald's French fries because they contain fiber. And she like videos herself like eating a bunch of French fries from McDonald's all the time. It's insane. What do you
I
think about that?
My immediate thought is, how much are they paying her to promote that?
Right.
That's my immediate thought. Yeah.
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 I don't think she has a huge following, so I don't think she's getting like, I don't know. I think she genuinely believes it.
Wow.
She's like,
Wow.
there's 6 grams of fiber in this container of. She had a small bag of McDonald's French fries and I actually went and looked it up because I was like, there's no way there's 6 grams of fiber in that. There's
Yeah.
6 grams of fiber in a large McDonald's fry,
Oh
not
my
the
gosh.
small one that she had, like the kid size or the small one. But
Right. Right.
I think, yeah, that was kind of a side note. But one of the
Yeah.
things that I've noticed, and you said something that triggered this in me a second ago, is, oh, you said you had this fear of food, and you people tend to think of food as like bad or something that's going to hurt them, or like
Yeah.
what is the least I can eat to
Yeah.
get by. And that's what
Yeah.
I see a lot because like obviously my specialty, my you know um my love is the
Yeah.
nervous system and trauma recovery. And one of the things that I teach like every single day is how to move our nervous system out of that fight or flight, out of that survival mode, and
Yeah.
into a regulated, parasympathetic driven rest and digest state.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize is like you can be you are triggering, you are signaling to your body that you to be in a state of fight or flight if you are undernourishing. So if you are eating
Yeah.
like 1,200 calories a day, like
Yeah.
your body responds as if there is a tiger
Yeah.
present in front of
Right.
you
Right.
because it thinks it's starving.
Right.
And
Right.
like from a primal standpoint, like undernourishing is, I mean, just as bad, maybe worse of
Yeah.
overnourishing.
Yeah, I tell my clients when I say this also with like skipping breakfast, and I personally am not for like intermittent fasting for women specifically.
Yes,
Um,
so
but
bad.
when they're undernourishing or not eating at regular enough intervals, I say the body thinks it's in a famine. And so it is like we got to hold on to all of any energy that we get.
Right.
So I have women who are eating like 1,200 calories and they can't, they're trying to lose weight.
Yeah,
And
they're like, why can't I lose weight? You're like, because your
yeah,
body thinks it's starving.
right,
You
right.
can't let go of weight if you're
Yeah,
in a state of survival. Your body
right,
thinks you're going to be, like stranded in a desert island for the next
right.
6 months. Like it's going to hold on to everything right now.
Yeah,
You're going to probably gain weight.
right, right. Exactly. And I'm like, this is really good news. You can eat more and potentially lose weight.
Yeah.
And yeah, I yeah, I think I remember I have a specific memory. I was in high school and I was with a friend and we were at like Starbucks and she got a muffin or something and she was like, "Why don't you get something?" And I was like, "Oh no, you don't understand. Like I can't eat that. If I am not actively trying to lose weight, I will gain weight."
Mm,
And I just have so much compassion for my teenage self, even in my early 20s. Like I I just thought I was broken. I remember thinking like I got a lemon of a body. Like other
mm,
people can eat whatever they want and and look good, feel good, but things are complicated for me and it just doesn't work the same for me.
yeah.
And I was underfueling for sure, and I also wasn't eating real food. I was eating some real food, but not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Like the I feel like people. constantly ask me that. Like, what is whole foods? Clients are like, what does that even mean? People are
Yeah.
unsure like what it means and
Yeah.
about like food quality, right? And like that's
Yeah.
something that you're really like knowledgeable about is like
Yeah.
where do we see like what's important? What's is organic important? I know
Yeah.
there's some nuances with that, but like what do you say to that? What is whole foods and how do you eat high quality whole foods?
Yeah. Well, whole foods are single ingredient foods that come from the planet, from the earth. So fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, legumes. Um, so a whole food doesn't have an ingredient list because it is just one ingredient.
Yeah, an apple.
An apple, right. There's
Yeah.
not a nutrition facts label on an apple because it's just an apple. Um, and so their quality does matter, but the most important thing is that you're eating mostly whole foods. If you can fit higher quality into your budget, amazing. Yes, there is benefit, but the greatest benefit comes from shifting from highly processed, ultra processed foods with, a dozen or more ingredients on the label from that to whole foods. Um, but when it comes to whole foods, organic is ideal when possible because non-organic is less regulated and there's just higher pesticide residue on those foods. Um, I like to refer people to the Environmental Working Group's Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen is the top 12 foods that have the highest pesticide burden on them, and they test them every year, and so it changes a little bit every year. But kind of a good rule of thumb to think about is if you're eating the skin, so something like berries or apples where you're eating the skin, um, going to be more likely to expose you to pesticides. So those are foods where I would suggest considering organic if that is accessible for you. Um, they also have the Clean 15, which is 15 foods with the lowest pesticide residues, and those are the ones where it's you're there's more of a green light to do non-organic. So that would be things where you're not eating the skin, things like bananas or pineapples. Are two things that come to mind for me, and I can't remember what the exact lists are this year, but
Berries are always on the top of the list.
yes, yeah,
Strawberries and blueberries are always on the top of the dirty dozen.
yeah, yes, yeah,
I'll put the links to the EWG. I love that website as well. I'll put that in the show notes so the listeners can take a look.
yeah, perfect.
Um, when you said about the apple. Yeah, that's what it
Yeah,
was. The apple. I remember when I was like really starting to come to my own, nutrition has not been the primary driver for me. It was really like nervous system and stuff. And I had
yeah,
already gotten my coaching certifications and I think I ate like relatively healthy overall. We were eating some processed food, but
yeah,
overall we were eating organic as much as possible, eating a lot of whole foods, whole food fruits, vegetables, that sort of stuff. But my kids loved strawberry applesauce, Mott's strawberry
oh,
applesauce. And one
yes,
day I just happened, like you think like applesauce, right? And it's like
right.
the marketing is so good
Oh, yes,
on
greenwashing.
the container. It's like real applesauce, right?
Yeah,
I don't even know how that's even possible that they can say that because it's really literally not real applesauce.
yeah, yeah.
It's like I just happened. I'm like just in the pantry one day and I just grabbed the applesauce box and I turned it around and I was shocked
Yeah.
to find the number one ingredient in Mott's strawberry applesauce. I'm sure you could guess. High
High
fructose corn.
fructose. Yep.
Yeah, high fructose corn syrup. Number two, red 40.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Number three, apples.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Not surprised. Yeah.
I threw it in the trash. I
Yeah.
immediately threw it in the trash. I was like, they're eating like like it's not even real sugar. It's like
Right.
sludge.
Right. Right. It's very deceptive.
How do
Um,
they say real apples when it's like real applesauce made with real apples? That's what it's like. Well,
because they
there's a
said
tiny little bit of
they
percentage
said
of,
made with.
yeah,
Because there are a little bit, they are made with a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Never mind
it's
all the crap that we're putting into it.
yeah, yeah. I always say don't ever go off of the front. So I'm not like anti all processed foods. I think there are some minimally processed options out there that can totally be a part of a nourishing diet. Um, but you just want to be just kind of hyper vigilant as a consumer, and turn the package around and read the ingredient list. Because, I mean, this even happened to me recently. I was buying almond butter, and I've always bought the same brand of almond butter, and I didn't realize that they had two versions of almond butter, and they were almost completely identical with the exception of a teeny little circle that said no stir. And the almond butter that I normally get is one ingredient, almonds, or dry roasted almonds or something. And the one that I accidentally got had like sugar and palm oil in it. It was, first of all, it tasted disgusting. I immediately knew it was not what I intended to get. But it was just very deceptive because it looked almost identical to the one that I normally get. And so it's important to not, to you can read the front labels, but always double check the back because they're always trying to trick you. There's some influencer who does like marketing rebranding and he'll take like a bag of sugar and he'll rebrand it to look like a health food, or he'll take um like fruit roll-ups and rebrand them to look like a health food, made with real fruit flavors. Like, they make it
Yeah,
look like a
the
health food,
marketing.
and marketing
Yeah,
can
people don't
be,
understand like these companies like they're in the business of making money and they
yeah,
spend millions and millions, probably more, probably billions of dollars
yeah,
on marketing. They
yes.
pay scientists to make the food addictive. That's
Yeah,
why do you think you can't like just eat one like have you ever wondered that? Like why do you open a bag of potato chips and you can't ever just eat one potato chip?
right, right.
Why? It's
Yeah,
because they're
because they're,
made to
yeah,
be addictive.
exactly,
It's on
exactly.
purpose.
Yes. And then you get tricked into thinking certain foods are health foods, like a box of Cheerios that says heart
Heart
healthy.
healthy.
Yeah,
Yes. You're like,
yeah,
still not healthy.
not healthy.
Better
Yeah.
than, yeah, maybe. Yeah. You
Maybe
need
better than
Cheerios
some,
like you need a
maybe
whole,
better than Fruit Loops, but
yeah, maybe.
yeah,
There's so many like misconceptions with nutrition, and I feel like that's like one of the people's like hurdles with feeling confident and competent and
yeah,
prepared to actually like nourish their body is there's so many questions and misinformation and I have my own hypotheses about why I think like what you said turn it over and read the ingredient list.
yeah.
Curious your take on like why do you think people don't read the ingredient list?
I think they just don't, it doesn't occur to them to read it. Just like when I was using butter spray, it never occurred to me to turn it over and see that there was actually not even any butter in that product whatsoever. It
Was
was
it
just,
I can't believe it's not butter
yeah, it
spray?
was, yeah, like one of
It's like
those
literal chemicals. It's like not
literal
even.
chemicals. Yeah, it's like, okay, no wonder my body was hating me.
Yeah.
I was poisoning it. Um, yeah, but yeah, I think people they just don't know. They don't know, and they trust that the food in the grocery store it's on the shelf because
It's
it's
safe.
it's safe, right? But
Mhm.
it's not maybe gonna give you a heart attack immediately. But I wouldn't necessarily, call something safe um, if you're continuously eating it and it's making you sick. Um,
Yeah.
and but there is so much disconnect between food and health. And I think sadly the conventional medical world, is not doing us any service in that regard. Um, I remember after my son was born, I was already working as a functional nutritionist, and I or I was working on my certification, and I was having some postpartum anxiety, and I saw a psychologist, and I was talking to him about potentially going on medication, and I said, I just I I'm really, I'm very into holistic health, and I really believe that, my diet can influence my mental health. And he said to me, "Why do you think what you eat has anything to do with your mental health?" And it was just like completely shocking to me. And like, thankfully, I knew enough to know that, wait a second, no,
Yeah, you're like, that's not right.
that is not right. But imagine if someone didn't have like the training that we have, for them to hear that from a doctor, and or from, a practitioner they're working with, to be so dismissive of their nutrition. It's like, well, no wonder so many people don't make this connection between what they eat and how they feel. Because doctors are literally telling them there's not a connection sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's of course not all doctors, but like it is definitely a problem in the conventional medical world. I've seen it with my parents too, with their health journeys and them trying to advocate for themselves, and their doctor pushing pills at them. And even when they say like, "Hey, what about some diet and lifestyle changes?" They're like, "No, take this pill." It's kind of wild. You really have to advocate for yourself, and that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. We were talking before we started recording that the um yeah, obviously like we need like the allopathic medical system. We need ICUs, we need ORs, we need ERs, and
Yeah.
like God
Yeah.
gave us the that, like of course
Yeah.
we have, you know, that science and technology available to us, but as far as
Right.
like true health,
Hmm.
like it's always back to the basics. You
Yeah.
will not find health in a pill bottle. It's not,
Right.
it doesn't exist there. And like
Right.
mental health, anxiety, trauma recovery, that's my jam. So I always say like you go to the doctor, you have anxiety, you have postpartum, whatever, like they're going to give you a pill. They're going to give you probably Zoloft, Paxil, some
Hmm.
SSRI. And I
Yeah.
say all the time, like your mental health issues, your anxiety is not a Zoloft deficiency.
Right.
That doesn't actually exist.
Right.
They have
Yeah.
made us believe
Hmm.
that the answer is in the pill, but it's not. It's back to the basics:
Yeah. Yeah.
lifestyle, nutrition, stress management.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not sexy, it's not easy, but it is that simple.
Right. Right. I know. I say that all the time. It is simple, but not necessarily easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. If people want to reach out to you, what is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. This was awesome. They can find me at my website, which is katiekirklin.com. It's Kirklin. Or on Instagram, it's just at Katie Kirklin Nutrition.
Awesome. And I'll put those links in the show notes. So yeah, reach out to Katie if you have questions. Thank you everyone for listening. If this episode resonated with you and you enjoyed it, would you please leave me a review? That helps us get the word out, spread the message, because this is where it's at. This is where health is like taking uh learning about the body, learning about yourself, learning about nutrition, optimizing your lifestyle, reducing your toxic burden, all of those things. That's what's going to give you health, not the pill bottle. So, and this is a movement, not a message. Healing is always possible. Thank you for being here, Katie, and share this episode with a friend. See you on the next episode. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Holistic Health with Melissa. It is such an honor to have you here. If you found value in today's episode, would you share it with a friend who might need it too and leave us a review? If you have questions or topic suggestions, reach out on social media or visit our website, holistichealthbymelissa.com, and take care. I'll catch you on the next episode.